Thanks for joining me. It's your friend James Shaw. I am so glad you're here and hanging out with us today as we reflect on 2025 and prepare for 2026. It's all about taking a moment to just think about what worked, what didn't this year, and how can you leverage that moving into a new year to get even better results that are more in alignment with who you are, that give you the time you want to spend on the business and the time you want to spend with your family and doing other things or working on yourself or whatever is important to you, and still have great results in the new year. See, my guess is there's a lot of things that happened in 2025 that you're really proud of. Maybe your business beat last year's business or did better than the market, or you got some personal things accomplished that you wanted to accomplish on your own personal journey. And then there's probably some things that you're like, dang, missed out on an opportunity, or that would have been nice. Maybe you're someone that actually had a little bit of a down year. Good news is that one year doesn't make a career, and whether it was great or not so great, we always have opportunity when the calendar flips over. And so today is about helping you think about and reflect about 2025, get clarity about it, and then make intentional choices in 2026. Choices that'll move you closer to your goal, that'll help you achieve the things you want to achieve, the choices that allow you to have the right perspective about when things are great and when they aren't so great, and how to not get too high and not get too low, and just really keep focusing on the things that you know that work, that will bring you the results that you want. See, the state of the market is irrelevant to the individual agent. Surely your market might be up or down, who knows what it is, and your business could be the opposite of whatever's going on in the market. So it doesn't necessarily impact you per se. The choices you make do, how you show up every day, and are you making decisions on purpose, with purpose, so that your business and your life move in the direction that you want. So in this session, what I'm going to do is just ask you some questions. You might find it helpful to pull out a journal or take some notes somewhere and just think about some of the questions that I'm going to ask you. This is a good one to go back and maybe watch later as well and pause as you go along. Or if you're an Inspire member, we created a worksheet for you that you could do later. I would not print it out now and watch it along with the call, but I'd print it out later and go back and take a look at it and use that as a guide to kind of think about the year and plan for the next one. So Inspire members, you can get it in the portal. You just go to jamesdshaw.com and click Inspire, log in, go into the portal. It'll be attached to the recording of this call. So right there in that weekly mastermind replay section. If you're not an Inspire member, I invite you to come hang out with us. It's our membership community. We meet every single Tuesday afternoon, and it's all about helping you get the systems and the strategies and the tools and the ideas that you need to thrive in any market. So if you're not with us, we'd love to invite you to join us. Either way, you're here, and I'm glad you're here. And I just want to walk through some questions for you to think about, because your results in 2026 are not by chance. You're not leaving it to the market to decide what's going to work for you and what isn't. You're going to make decisions. You're going to make choices. And those choices are going to be choices that are grounded in some sort of fact or observation about your experience and your results in 2025. And so as we walk through these, again, just take a moment to jot some of this stuff down, and I'll share some of my answers and lessons with you along the way as well, as you think about how do you take your experience in 2025, reflect on it, and then use that as leverage as we move into 2026. So let's start off with this one, and I just want you to think about it, and that's this, is that what do you understand now about your business that you didn't know a year ago? What did you learn? What lessons are you taking with you into the new year? Did you figure out that there's some lead gen strategy that works better than you thought it did, and so you really should probably pay more attention to it? Did you find a time waster that was one that seemed to get you every so often, that held you back from achieving your goals? Did you find that maybe being on the pivot shift ahead calls on a regular basis was a good idea for you to get some strategies and some results? Did you discover that when you go into your office, you're more productive than when you don't, or vice versa? I don't know what you learned, but I want you to think about what you know from your business now that you didn't know a year ago. And then let's think about your strategies. You know, what plays is it that you ran? We say all the time, learn the plays and run the plays. What plays worked for you? So I want you to think about what is your experience of the activities that you focused on? Like the decisions that you made about what you were going to do and what lead gen pieces were going to work and where you were hanging out and just the different activities in the business. Did those drain you or energize you? In fact, just think for a minute. What specific activities energized you and which ones drained you? Were there people that energized you or people that drained you? Were there conversations that energized you or conversations that drained you? Were there lead generation strategies that energized you and lead generation activities that drained you? See, if you think about it for a minute, when you know what energizes you, you know where to put your focus. When you know what drains you, that might be something you want to step away from completely or add leverage, or maybe it's quite frankly just missing some sort of tool or system to make it a little bit easier for you. So think about the experience of the activities you focused on and which ones energized you and which ones drained you. See, what I'm doing right now is something that can be really hard for people to do, and that is to slow down and pause for a minute and reflect. I don't know if you're anything like me, but I'm a go, go, go person. I want to get things done. Let's keep moving. And I have found that it can be hard for me to go back and say, hold on, let's figure out what works best, what doesn't work best, what brings me the most energy, what doesn't, so that I can stay in a space that works. We got to pause to do that. When was the last time you slowed down long enough to really compare your effort with your results? Is that something you do on a regular basis? I'd love to see it in the chat. Put it in the chat if you're watching live. Do you do it weekly? Maybe you use a 411 as a tool, very common in the Keller Williams space to use a tool called a 411 that would allow you to go back and reflect. Or maybe you have a coach who you meet with weekly that you go back and reflect with. Or maybe it's just wake up and go every day. In the Inspire Collective, we have a tool that you can use every single quarter. We have a quarterly review worksheet that allows you to go back and look at all sorts of different things. What your goals were for the quarter, what the strategies were that you used, what worked really well, what your gaps were, all that kind of stuff. Inspire members, again, you can find that right inside the portal, jamesdshaw.com. Go to the Inspire login, you'll find it there. If you're not an Inspire member, again, you're welcome to come hang out with us. But think about how are you comparing effort with results? Where are you really happy? Where is it the effort is getting you great results? And where is it the effort isn't getting you the result you want? And so maybe you need to change that. Maybe that whatever you're putting that effort toward needs to go away. Or is it a lack of effort somewhere that's leading to a challenge? For me, I find that sometimes I can be busy, but not in business. Right? You've heard busyness versus business. I can be super busy, but not get a lot done. And so I've got to slow down sometimes and be purposeful and ask myself the question, what should I be doing right now that's going to move me closer to my goals? Now, as you do that, you're going to get outcomes, and you're going to be happy with some of them and not so happy with some of them. So how certain are you that you're satisfied with the outcomes you got in 2025? I mean, take a moment and think about it again. Did you leave some opportunities on the table? Was there a part of the year this year that you didn't get the outcome that you wanted? Was there a specific outcome you were looking for and didn't get, or an outcome you didn't think would happen and you actually got? I'd love to hear some of those. What was something that happened this year that you didn't think would happen that was a huge win for you that you can take going into the new year? Every single one of you has one of those. Every one of you watching or listening to this has a surprising win, and then you have a disappointing loss. Personally, I'd choose to focus on the surprising win and figure out how I can do it again, and then ask myself, what lesson can I get from the disappointing loss? Those are the reflection questions I want you to think about for the year. Just those few questions. What do you understand about your business right now that you didn't know a year ago? What's your experience in the activities that you focused on, and which ones gave you energy and which ones drained you? When was the last time you slowed down long enough to really compare your effort with your results, and what were those results compared to the effort? And then how certain are you that you're satisfied with the outcomes you got in 2025? Now that you know those things, we can move into our conversation about what worked and what didn't work. Now, if you've hung out inside Pivot Shift Ahead for any period of time, You know that I love the exercise that Gary and Jay and Dave teach us on shift pages 54 to 57. It's one where you can go in, and if you got the book, you can pull it out, but where you go in and source all of your closings for the year. Now, if you didn't have at least 24 closings, source all the leads that you got this year and figure out where they came from. Door knocking, open house, database, your client events, seminars, whatever you're doing, expireds, for sale by owners. You figure out where these leads or closings came from, depending on your production. And then you prioritize them. Whichever one got you the most is number one. Whatever got you the second most is number two, and so on. You know how to count. You can figure that out. And then what Gary and Jay and Dave suggest is that you double down on the strategies that work, right? In a market that is flat or declining, as it has been in most places in this country this year, you want to be focusing on strategies that you know work and double down on those strategies that work. Now, something we've talked about inside of both Pivot, Shift Ahead and Inspire is to make sure that in addition to choosing strategies that you know work, I just added, make sure you like doing them. If you don't like doing them, you probably wouldn't be willing to do them twice as much or double down on them. But if you do like it, it's sustainable, you can do it long term, you get energy from it instead of it draining you, and you're more likely to continue it and keep it going and then get even better results. So I want you to think about that. How important is it that you double down on activities that give you the best results? I think it's pretty important. So think about which ones give you the best results. You know, if you do open houses as a strategy, which is really popular, a lot of people do it, a lot of people like it, and you went and you do one every week, every Saturday, you're out there at 1 o'clock doing your open house, good for you. And then you find that in addition to liking it, it was a top 5 lead source for you this year. Then you should double down on that one. You go do them on Wednesday as well. You do Wednesday and Saturday, and then figure out maybe on your Wednesday open house and you do it, you know, the afternoon when car line's going on or during the middle of the day. I don't care. You go take your database list and call through it. So now you're doing something you know you probably should do at something you actually like to do that gives you results. Imagine your energy there when you're focused on doubling down on activities that give you the best results. That's a decision you make going into 2026. Now, another one to think about is, where did you skip out on that you probably shouldn't? I mean, could it be possible that there are things that either feel safe or familiar that are holding you back? Is it that you find that you spend too much time on a script practice or role play call and not enough time talking to real people? I think that is a challenge inside of this space, that many of you are so learning based and growth minded that you spend more time practicing than doing sometimes. If that's an issue for you, think about how can you move toward doing. Or maybe you're a salesperson, but you really get lost in the paperwork or the admin type things, the contract to close process, the marketing pieces. I don't know what it is for you that you get trapped. We all get trapped in some area that we probably should either leverage to another person, some kind of system, some tool, or maybe just dump altogether. See, that's where it could be possible that some things that feel safe or familiar are holding you back. Think about that. Jot them down right now. Put them in the chat. You probably know what some of them are. Put them in the chat right now about what are those things that again, safe and familiar, that aren't moving you closer to your goals. See, we have to do this so that we know what worked. That's what to double down on. We know what doesn't work, where it is we're staying safe, and then we know what action to take. You know, inside of Pivot, we've talked about how success happens inside of your comfort zone. That's this whole idea of doubling down on what you know is working for you, that's working, you're comfortable with it, you like it, keep doing that. And yet, if you want to grow, I want you to get what I call comfort zone adjacent. Now, see, sometimes you've heard the quote that growth happens outside of your comfort zone, and it's true, but it doesn't have to be all the way out there. It can just be right here, adjacent to where you're comfortable. Because when you get too far out there, that can lead to panic, you shut down, you don't do the stuff you're supposed to do. So ask yourself, where is it you could get comfort zone adjacent and away from something that feels familiar, and too safe, and actually get a better result for you? Now, as you reflect on those things, what worked, that's where you double down. What didn't work, where you felt safe and familiar. Ask how you would feel if you carry the exact same habits into 2026 without making a single adjustment. In other words, the question you need to ask is this: If you would put 2025 as a 10 out of 10, then you're probably in a really good space and don't need a lot of adjustments. But if it's not a 10 out of 10, you probably have some adjustments to make. Make those adjustments on purpose, with purpose. Using the conversation we're having today, along with the tools that we provide you inside of Pivot, Shift Ahead, and Inspire, to make the right choices about where to focus and what to let go. One thing we talked about not too long ago was, what are those should do's in the business? You've got your must do's, the things that you know work. You have your like to do's, the stuff you love doing in the business. But what are the should do's? And some of those should do's, you should just dump. You should just get rid of them and get them off the plate. Like you took you took some course and they said, in order for you to succeed, you have to call expireds, and you have no desire, zero desire to call expireds whatsoever. Then don't do them. Like when I was selling, I was told I had to do open houses to succeed. I hate them. Can I just be honest and transparent with you for a minute? The open house is like my least favorite strategy. And some of you are like, you're crazy. Maybe I am, but it's not the right strategy for me. I should dump it and move on. So think about what habits work, what habits don't work, and what do you need to change? If it's a 10 out of 10, you don't have to change very much. But if it's low, you have some changes to make. Make the decision now so you're on purpose, with purpose. Now let's imagine what 2026 might look like. I mean, the whole point of this conversation today is for us to take the lessons from 2025, but then move them into 2026 so we can get the results that we want. And so I want you to imagine what your business could look like if you make that one or two changes that you know you need to make. There's just one or two. Just imagine what your business could look like if you make that one or maybe two changes that you know you need to make in 2026. Put in the chat what you think those changes are, or jot it down if you're taking notes. My guess is you already know immediately, you know what the changes are. That if you got purposeful in your lead follow-up system, so that you didn't have to constantly be searching for leads all the time, but you had a really good pipeline in place and a really good follow-up system, then you could almost double your number of transactions, because in addition to looking for new business, you're following up with the people who've already raised their hand. Or if you added this one strategy that you actually like, but you just haven't spent the time on that maybe you could, and you got rid of some low dollar producing activity for you and instead went and just spent for 20 minutes a day on this one thing, well, you get twice as many leads. Think about what it would look like when you make that one or two changes for the year. And then what if you decided to cut out the activities that drained you? What would that create for you? How could you grow? If you decided to cut out activities that drained you, then how would you grow? And what is that activity you'd cut out? Put it in the chat. And if you did cut it out, what do you think would happen? Are you circle prospecting and not getting a ton of results from that? That's really time consuming. It's low quality in the result. If you're not building your pipeline that way, get rid of it and go do something else. Find the strategies that work. That's the whole point of this conversation. And when you do that, now you're again on purpose, with purpose, doing the things that you know will move you forward. See, as your goal setting and planning for the year, my question is, are you setting the right goals? How certain are you that the goals that you have been thinking about for 2026 are actually the right goals for you? Or are they made up? I meet people who make made up goals all the time. I'll say, hey, how many homes do you want to sell this year? And they're like, James, I want to do 36. I'm like, that is awesome. I'm so proud of you. What a great goal. How did you come up with that? And they'll say something like, well, last year I did 24. That's 2 a month. I think I can do 1 more a month. That got me to 36. There's no chance. Well, I shouldn't say there's no chance, but the chance that you accomplish that is actually pretty low level, because there's no purpose. There's no meaning behind it. In order for you to truly be able to accomplish a goal, something that's important to you, we've got to put some sort of purpose or meaning behind that goal. What does it do for you? There's a lot of different ways that you can look at it. Gene Rivers teaches a concept of the lid, which is figuring out what your lifestyle cost and what your investing goals are going to be and how much debt you'll have to pay. And you can use that to come up with an income number that you need to create. And we've covered that a lot inside of Pivot and Inspire. You can just search for lid and you'll find the calls on it. Gary Keller will talk a lot about figuring out your big why and knowing what's really important to you. And then Jay Papasan in the One Thing will talk about goal setting to the now, taking your someday goal and bringing it all the way down to now. And you can find all that stuff if you go search for it. But let's go get clarity about what the goal means and what it's about. And once you have clarity about what it does, then you can know with certainty that your 2026 goals are right for you. But don't make them up. Don't make them up. One of my least favorite things I hear agents say is, well, if I could just sell a few more homes this year than I did last year, that would be great. Baloney. Baloney. That's just you setting a goal that so if you don't reach it, you can feel okay. Go figure out what you want, figure out what it's going to take to get there, and then go pursue it. Because how would you feel if 12 months from now you're looking back at 2026 and you're grateful and full of pride? How amazing would that be? I imagine you'd feel pretty accomplished and relieved and proud of what you did. And the way to do that is to figure out what's important to you. Figure out what it is that you truly want to accomplish in the year and then break it down to its simplest form. This is where you have the chance to go from an outcome focus to a process focus, which is something, again, we talk about often here inside of Pivot Shift Ahead and on the Inspire Collective. This comes from our friend Brad Stulberg and his book, The Practice of Groundedness, where once you've set your goal, and again, the goal has to have purpose and meaning and be important to you, whether you use the lid concept or the big why or goal setting to the now or any number of strategies out there, and you go figure it out, then you chunk it down to what are the activities that I need to do in order to reach the goal. Right? So again, step one is figure out the goal, but make sure it has purpose and meaning. Step two is figure out the activities required for you to reach it. All right, so I've got to talk to this many people on my database, hold this many events. I need my calendar to look like this. I'm going to need this kind of leverage. I want to send out these postcards, like get all into it. That's step two. Step three is forget about the goal and focus on the steps. So you set the goal that has purpose and meaning. You figured out the steps required for you to reach the goal, steps that you can control. And then three is forget about the goal and focus on the steps. Now you no longer wake up and wonder. So many people wake up, wonder, and wander. Wake up, what am I supposed to do now? And wander around trying to figure it out. Instead of waking up and knowing exactly what to do. On Mondays, it's my open house follow-up calls, and I start my database call schedule. Maybe you're using that DTD2 system that is so popular with so many of you, 2 letters by last name every week. And so on Mondays, it's open house follow-ups and DTD2 calls. On Tuesdays, it's leftover DTD2 calls and you're doing old lead follow-up, pipeline follow-up. On Wednesday, you wear pink. On Thursday, you do an open house and door knock. I don't know what it is, but you've got to figure it out so that you, again, can be on purpose with purpose. The decisions you make each day are grounded in a result you desire to get, but you've moved away from being tied to the outcome and the result and more focused on the plan. This is why, by the way, in the Inspire Collective, we share the 30-point tracking system. It is an amazing tool that we got from our friend Brittany McAllister. She used it while she had a daughter in the NICU and was pregnant with her son and needed to figure out how she was going to be able to accomplish the things that she wanted to accomplish in her business. And we have it available to our Inspire members in the portal. jamesdshaw.com is where you can go find it. If you're not an Inspire member, go look. But it's a whole list. It's like a full list of all the different things you could accomplish, and they all have different point values based on how impactful they are to your bottom line. And the goal is just to get 30 points every day. Maybe if you did that, you'd be in good shape. See, that's part of the value of being in a space like this, about being inside of Pivot Shift Ahead, listening and watching these Wednesday webinars, being on our calls, and being a member of the Inspire Collective, is that you're hanging out with people that are sharing ideas and strategizing with you to give you hope and promote progress. You need hope that you can do the right strategies at work, and ultimately you need to be inspired to get to work and make progress. When was the last time you consistently surrounded yourself with people who challenged and encouraged you? That's the next question I want you to think about as we talk about getting support and being in community. Now, that's more than just this space. Ask yourself the question, are the people you're hanging out with challenging you and encouraging you, or doing something else? Is whatever you're listening to or watching inspiring you and encouraging you and challenging you, or is it doing something else? Is who you follow on social media challenging you and encouraging you, or doing something else? Do a community audit. Just do a community audit. And community is who you hang out with, what you listen to, what you read, what you watch, all those pieces. Do a community audit and ask, what's challenging me and encouraging me and what isn't? And if you have to, get rid of stuff or go have some conversations with people about the relationship so that you're in the space where you feel challenged and encouraged. Challenged, in other words, maybe that little push that you need, and encouraged that you're moving on the right path. Now, hopefully, if you're part of what we do inside Pivot Shift Ahead and the Inspire Collective, you're getting that. If you're not, message me now and let me know how we can make sure that you get it. See, my guess is that you know who you hang out with really matters. And so I want you to think about how important is it that you stay plugged in to conversations that help you. Conversations that help you adapt to the market that's ahead, or conversations that help you make the adjustments to your business that you need to make, probably a minor one, to be able to get you the result that you want, or the conversations that help you think about what's going on in your personal space and what's working for you there and what adjustments might you need to make. See, this will help you stay ahead. When you are hanging out with other people who are having these conversations, you're thinking forward, and then you can respond versus react. Then you can make maneuvers that are right for you instead of trying to figure out what to do next. See, my guess is you already know this, that being part of Pivot, and if you're part of the Inspire Collective, is a really smart place to be for your 2026 plan. Because it keeps you from wishing for results and instead actually achieving them. The number of people that I talk to and hear from on a regular basis who say, James, because I'm hanging out in Pivot, which is free, anybody can be on that. Our calls are every single morning at 8 o'clock Eastern. You can listen to the podcast version wherever you find podcasts, but they tell me because of the ideas I get here, I'm getting results. And then the people who are part of the Inspire Collective are taking it to a whole nother level. So again, jamesdshaw.com if you're interested in that. But my goal today, I hope, was to just have you reflect a little bit. Reflect on 2025, then figure out what worked and what didn't work so that you can make the right adjustments and be inspired for 2026. And then make sure you're hanging out with the right people. It's about reflection. Those reflections allow you to make the right choices and make choices strategically. And then now you know what action to take to get the results that you want. Decide what you want to continue, what to stop, and what you want to add in 2026 so that you make it the best year yet. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. I hope this was of value to you. And again, Inspire members, I encourage you to go into the portal, download the worksheet to go answer the questions. And I'd love to hear your takeaways and thoughts and ahas as well. Reach out to me and let me know. You'll find me on Instagram at James D. Shaw. And then I hope to see you on our Pivot Shift Ahead calls as we wrap up 2025 and move into 2026. I hope you'll come hang out with us. There at Zoom room opens at 7:30 Eastern every single morning. The call starts at 8. If you can't be on live, maybe it's just not a right time for you, no worries. Go to wherever you find your podcast and type in Pivot Shift Ahead, and it'll be right there for you. You can listen to the recording same day. Thanks for being here. You got your inspiration. Go put in the perspiration, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.